Though I was born and raised in the great city of Chicago, my family's migratory history can be traced to areas in the world far from my hometown suburb of LaGrange Park, Illinois. My great-grandparents immigrated from Northern Ireland in the early 1900s with their son, my Grandpa Poppy, otherwise known as Daniel King. From Ireland, they moved to Quebec City, Canada, where they started a family bakery. Quebec City is the capital of the Canadian province, Quebec. Quebec is predominantly French-speaking and is the second most populated Canadian province. Shortly after living in Quebec City, my great-grandparents sent my Grandpa Poppy to boarding school in Windsor, Ontario. Ontario is another Canadian province. Ontario borders all the Great Lakes, and Windsor is the city in Ontario that is directly across the border from Detroit, Michigan. On his own now, my grandpa decided to make a name for himself. He stayed in Windsor and finished school, starting different businesses, including a nightclub, and he especially loved selling cars. Everything he did was self-taught. Any family member up until this point in his life was living thousands of miles away from him. After selling cars for long enough, my grandpa started his own car dealership, Dan Kane Chevrolet. During this time, Poppy met his wife, my grandma Maddie, otherwise known as Shirley Kane. They lived happily in a nice suburb of Canada close to the dealership and raised 8 children. My mom was the youngest of the 8 children. Soon after high school, she followed in her father's footsteps and left her family and friends behind to pursue her education and career in the United States. Although I was young when my grandpa passed, I was old enough to understand the pride he felt in his children and the care and effort he put into making sure their lives were filled with success and happiness. After graduating from St. Mary's Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana, my mom moved to Chicago to work with an accounting firm and acquired a law degree from the University of Loyola in Chicago. Her work with the firm led to meeting my dad and moving to our great home on Elmwood Avenue. Now my story continues, and I hope to carry on the qualities that my mom acquired from her dad. From this story, I have learned the importance in seeking success outside of personal comfort zones. My great-grandparents, Grandpa, and my mom all saw success in moving and changing locations. Though it may be scary to remove yourself from what you know, there is so much to gain from changing locations and not only learning about new cultures, but immersing yourself in them. I've seen just a tiny bit of this in deciding to come to Denver. In the short, almost 2 years I've been here, I've learned so much about myself, as well as understanding and respecting others' points of view and perspectives that they may hold because of the events that have transpired in their lives. Thank you.